Hello, I am Peaches of the E&E Models of Jackson and your host of Hit the Runway in Style. His story is inspirational, and you will hear his personal testimony of how he recognized that his love and passion for food will ultimately cause his death. Not only did he decide to take charge over his addiction, he is committed to sharing his story as a platform to encourage and motivate others. My guest today is Louis Bruno, Executive Chef to Mississippi Governor Haley Barbour. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back with the show. We're back and you're watching Hit the Runway in Style with my guest today, Louis Bruno, Executive Chef to Mississippi Governor Haley Barbour. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now before we get to start talking about your inspirational story that I mentioned earlier in the opening, we want to find out, and this is how I usually open up my show. I want the city of Jackson and the viewing audience to find out a little bit about my guest. So who is Louis Bruno?
Well, I'll tell you the truth, I hope everybody's sitting down. I'm a Puerto Rican from the Bronx, so I consider myself now a Southern Puerto Rican. I've been here 13 years.
Okay.
Grew up in the Bronx, mom, no dad, and a brother and two sisters. And we grew up like a typical, welfare, poor family, mother struggling and working hard, and we're trying to figure out life. And I grew up, moved to upstate New York, at 13, moved up with my brother. My sisters took different directions in life. And I fell in love with food. That was my first time. I worked for my brother in the supermarket.
Oh, okay, okay.
And you know what happens,
Right.
Free macaroni salad, free potato salad, and pizzas.
And then things happen.
Oh, God, things were growing.
Okay.
And it wasn't business, it was me. So pretty much, yeah, my mom is from Puerto Rico, and she lived in New York most of her life. And we're all from the Bronx.
Okay. And your transition here, from there to here.
I tell everybody I took a left turn in Albuquerque. I really met my wife in Florida.
Okay.
And I married a good old Southern white woman from Mississippi. I met her in Florida in culinary school. Okay. And that's where we met, and we fell in love, and we grew in our relationship. You know how you fall in love, you grow.
Right.
I mean, in hips. And we got comfortable, we got married, and moved back to Mississippi, where she's from, her hometown.
So do you have children?
One little girl. Little girl. She's 8, Emma. 8 going on 40.
Okay. Aren't they all?
Yeah, I mean, she's smarter than me.
Really?
Very smart, could read, and, black belt in karate.
Oh, my gosh.
She's a very talented little girl, and my wife is very talented. She works for Viking, and she's a writer, and, she tests food, writes, wine expert, the whole 9 yards. So lots of food in our lives.
So that's where that love for...
Yeah, my daughter is getting it too. So my daughter loves food.
Really?
She eats from Indian food to Japanese to Chinese, and it has to have flavor, spice, and texture, and she's all about that. She's not about just hot dogs and chicken nuggets. Okay. She's a snob when it comes to food. Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Okay. So. Well, before we talk about your addiction, as I call it, and that's what it is.
It is.
Lots of people have that. We want to talk about, I know that you were the owner of a restaurant.
Yeah. I had
Talk about that for a minute.
I had Bruno's Eclectic Cuisine, and that was in the quarter on Lakeland. Okay. And about 3.5 years, it was the Musgrove administration I left, and I decided I wanted to be like that guy on TV, Emerald, with the shiny, restaurants and millionaire and looking cool and singing Bang and all that. Did not happen. Okay. between taxes and employees not showing up, and I was getting sick. I was getting really sick. I had to shut it down. It was too much for me.
Okay.
Apparently, it was successful. People loved it, but I didn't know about that. I was too sick, too much in the back, not paying attention. It was a lot. It was a big deal.
Okay. And that was a few years ago?
I think I closed it down 2003.
Okay.
So it's about 5 years ago, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
5 years ago.
So let's switch and talk about the addiction. When did that start, or when did you recognize that there was a problem?
Well, I had this addiction since I was a child, I guess, when, young, and it got worse when I was 13. We had a supermarket, we had a pizzeria, we had a restaurant, and this all happened between 21, 13 and 21. I think I really didn't realize I had addiction. And to tell you the truth, when I really just realized I had addiction, it's about 2 weeks ago.
Really?
I was in the supermarket, and I was in front of the display of chocolate, candy bars and all that, the big juices, and I had this sensational rush, and I actually had this feeling throughout my whole body. I said, I'm addicted to food. I said, I gotta have chocolate. And like a man, we don't admit to things. And
right.
I realized, I sat there looking at this for about 5 minutes. I said, I can't believe this. My head is hurting because I want it.
Right.
It was pretty scary. It's a bad addiction. I go through a battle every single day.
Okay. But in reading your bio and talking with you, I knew that, that you had a personal testimony that the public needed to hear about, because many people have that. It's not like you're the Lone Ranger in this. Lots of people deal with it. Some people never deal with it, and then ultimately it causes major health problems that I think that you were dealing with, right?
I had bad health problems, but the thing is, I wasn't facing it. And I feel like I'm picking men, but how we think we're always fine, and we're not, and the next day we'll be okay. Women are more like, well, I don't feel good, I'm gonna go to the doctor and take care of myself.
Right.
Every day I tell myself I'll be better, but at this point of my life at the restaurant, I was taking in 6 shots of insulin a day. I had sleep apnea. I had reflux. I had cirrhosis of the liver, and it wasn't from alcohol. It was from diabetes.
Okay.
I couldn't feel my right leg, my right foot, and I had blurriness in the eye.
Okay.
And it was, my doctor said, I think he told me when I was about 35. He said, Louis, the rate you're going right now, a couple of things we got to do is either put you on a diet, or you're going to have a dialysis machine, or you're going to be dead by the age of 43. He didn't give me 45 or 50 or 40.
Right.
He said, this is when you should be dead. There's no way you're going to make it.
Okay.
No way. Okay. But I didn't do nothing after he told me that. I waited another year or so. I kept on eating custards and fried Spam and cheese.
Yeah, I read that.
I love Spam. Just fry with some butter.
Oh my gosh.
And a half a loaf of bread. Oh God, that's great. That's how I lived. And I ate a lot at night, and I eat a steak early in the morning, a ribeye. I ate some desserts, and that's how I lived my life. And lots of juices between that to keep myself filled and keep on going. And I didn't have a proper eating habit.
Oh, okay.
So, and no exercise, none at all.
Just none.
None.
Just that, huh? That was it.
That was it. And I continue. And I finally went because I was getting worse. And so I come to realize, I said, I got to get better. I said, I'm tired of going to, because when you have diabetes, you're constantly drinking, so you're constantly using the bathroom.
Right.
And I definitely couldn't feel my toes. It was really kind of scaring me. I said, I can't feel them. This is getting too weird. So I went. And, I said, this is my problem. He said, we got to put you on a diet. And he put me on a diet. Let me tell you, it was hard.
Well, I'm sure it was.
It was really hard. It was a liquid diet
through
Baptist Hospital, and 800 calories a day of just liquid. And it wasn't beer or milkshakes or anything like that. It was, it was their milkshakes, their soups in the package. You add water, poof, it's done, and that's it.
That's it.
800 calories. That's pretty much a burger for somebody, and that's it.
Yeah.
That was my meal for the whole day. So. But I did it. So I was 160 pounds in 5 months. So got rid of diabetes in my 3rd month in the 5-month period. Got rid of sleep apnea in 2 months in the 5-month period.
Oh,
And I
okay.
just changed everything in 5.5 months, 5 months.
Okay,
So,
okay. Well, we're going to have to take a break.
okay.
And